I will guide you through step by step in the flirting rulebook. This is how to get a girl. Sigma method. This is the first part of this flirt guide. This 6 rules will worth your time. So let's go, and you know what to do if you find them useful. Step 1. Draw the line between friendship and romance first. Looking into the eyes is known as the window to the soul, and for good reason. Easily one of the most ingrained forms of communication, and can be said to be passing information in terms of depth, interest, as well as emotional setup. Staring can convey what speech cannot. Affection, interest, or even if the involved parties are interested in crossing the fire of friendship and learning what and how to communicate non-verbally is the key to understanding the difference between friendship and intimacy. Another very helpful strategy for expressing the interest in a romantic level is the so-called golden triangle of eye contact that consists of periodic gazes into each other's eyes, followed by a brief look at the lips, and then down and to the side. This triangular pattern has helped to arouse interest and attraction because it gives more than a mere indication of affection towards such a person. The constant gaze into the eyes is considered as very personal and even aggressive, but if we avoid looking into the eyes too much, it will be interpreted as lack of interest or interest at all. What you establish when using the triangle approach is an adaptive, symmetrical beat, which fosters confidence and curiosity. On the psychological side, thus it may feel both very personal and exposed. Even holding eye contact for several seconds leads to the increase of feelings of relatedness and sexual interest. 1989. During the eye contact, you are actually asking the other person to join you emotionally, and that is really special, more special than friendship. The direction of your gaze also matters, especially when it comes to signaling attraction versus friendship. Looking down, for example, often conveys a sense of submission or insecurity and can suggest that you're not entirely comfortable or confident in the interaction. This can inadvertently place you in the friend zone, as it signals a more reserved, non-assertive stance. On the other hand, keeping your gaze level or slightly above signals confidence and presence, creating a feeling of mutual engagement. When you look directly into someone's eyes, it demonstrates both self-assurance and a willingness to connect deeply. There's also an art to mirroring the other person's gaze. If they maintain eye contact, hold it for a few moments longer before breaking away with a subtle smile or a relaxed expression. This shows that you're engaged, but not overly intense. On the other hand, if they look away or break eye contact frequently, following their lead shows respect for their comfort level, making the interaction feel natural and unpressured. This balance between mirroring and leading creates a sense of harmony in your nonverbal cues, which can help ease the transition from a platonic connection to a romantic one. In terms of Stoic philosophy, eye contact can be seen as a practice of presence. Stoics valued the idea of being fully present in each moment, of connecting with others in a way that is sincere and meaningful. When you look someone in the eyes, you're not only seeing them but acknowledging their presence in a way that feels genuine and grounded. It might look weird, but this aligns with the concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate, or the acceptance of each moment as it is. By engaging in meaningful eye contact, you're practicing presence and acceptance, valuing the connection for what it is in that exact moment. Eye contact can also be used to test compatibility. Someone who responds with warmth and engagement to eye contact may be open to a romantic connection, while someone who consistently looks away or down may be signaling that they're not interested in that kind of intimacy. This doesn't necessarily mean they don't care or aren't interested in a connection at all. Rather, it may simply indicate their level of comfort or openness to deeper emotional engagement. Respecting these cues helps you better understand and appreciate the dynamics of the relationship without imposing your expectations onto it. One final note on eye contact. The key is to use it thoughtfully and naturally. Overly intense eye contact can feel forced or intimidating, while too little can seem disinterested. Let your gaze flow naturally, allowing the moment to guide you. Eye contact is most effective when it's a natural response to the person and the interaction, not a tactic or a technique to be used mechanically. Trust your instincts. Listen to their cues and allow the gaze to create its own rhythm and language. In essence, the art of eye contact is the art of creating presence, attraction, and understanding without words. It's a subtle dance that, when done right, can deepen a connection in ways that are both profound and transformative. Embrace this silent language, using it not just to signal attraction, but to truly see and be seen. After all, sometimes a single look can say more than any words ever could. Step 2. Focus on present, not performance. What if the key to connection isn't what you do, but how you are? Confidence is often mistaken for bold displays or assertiveness, but true confidence, magnetic confidence, isn't about proving anything. It's a quiet self-assurance that radiates naturally. This presence draws people because it's calm, composed, and undeniably authentic. Imagine walking into a room with a sense of calm that says, "I'm at ease with myself." People pick up on it instantly. They're drawn to you not because you're putting on a show, but because you embody a peace and acceptance that they sense is rare. Real confidence whispers, "I don't need to impress you. I'm here to connect if you're interested." This subtle invitation to engage resonates more deeply than any words. Confidence becomes presence through 3 key practices: posture, eye contact, and tone. Standing tall reflects a grounded sense of self. There's no slouching in confidence, not because you're imposing, but because you respect yourself enough to claim space. Eye contact shows that you're open and unafraid to connect, while a steady, warm tone signals ease. When these elements combine, they signal that you're comfortable with yourself, making others feel comfortable with you. Confidence, however, isn't always natural. It's a practice that can be learned, especially through a stoic approach. Focus less on what others think and more on your own sense of inner stability. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from within, and confidence is simply an outward expression of that inner calm. When we care less about how others perceive us and more about our own sense of purpose and integrity, our actions start reflecting a natural confidence. It's less about acting confident and more about being confident. In psychology, this approach to confidence taps into what's known as the self-affirmation theory. When you remind yourself of values that are core to your identity, you naturally feel more resilient and assured. This subtle inner reinforcement leads to an outer confidence that isn't about ego, but about self-respect. People are drawn to this kind of quiet confidence because it's unthreatening, yet solid. Remember, confidence isn't arrogance. Arrogance seeks approval and feeds on reactions. Confidence, on the other hand, exists independently of outside opinion. You don't need people to validate you, and this independence gives you freedom. True confidence doesn't beg to be noticed. It simply exists, becoming magnetic through its calm self-sufficiency. Consider confidence not as a loud declaration, but as a subtle presence. It's about being fully in your own skin, neither shying away nor needing to stand out. Ironically, in doing so, you'll find that you stand out naturally, like a calm harbor in a world that often seems stormy. Confidence, then, isn't a destination, but a way of walking through the world with ease, knowing that you already have everything you need. Step 3. The art of teasing. What's life without a little lightness? Teasing, when done thoughtfully, can be one of the most charming ways to build connection. But it's an art. It requires a balance of humor, warmth, and genuine respect. done right, it can add a layer of playfulness to interactions, helping break down barriers without making anyone uncomfortable. When you approach teasing as a way to connect, not to criticize, you bring a natural ease to the conversation. Think of teasing as a playful dance rather than a competition. The goal isn't to win or put someone on the spot. It's about inviting them to laugh along with you. Good-natured teasing is lighthearted, never pushing someone's insecurities or personal sensitivities. You might poke gentle fun at a quirky habit, comment on a shared experience with a hint of sarcasm, or playfully challenge them on something trivial. A playful, well-placed tease can make someone feel like you're comfortable with them, which can be a compliment in itself. It shows that you see them as someone you can be informal with, signaling a certain level of closeness and trust. From a psychological perspective, teasing often leverages what's known as affectionate communication. Studies, such as one by Bippus in 2000, indicate that playful teasing can enhance relational closeness by creating a space for humor and lightness. It's a way of showing interest without being overly serious or intense. However, successful teasing requires emotional intelligence, the ability to read social cues and pick up on someone's comfort level. If the other person seems uncomfortable or doesn't respond in kind, it's wise to ease back. Women love puzzle. They would love a good show if you want to understand it better. We have a dedicated video on this topic, explaining with Robert Greene's power laws. Show your flash. Kindly search the channel. This idea of flashing is echoed in Stoic philosophy, which values moderation and respect. Stoicism teaches us to consider how our actions affect others. When teasing, it's important to think about the intention behind your words and to ensure that they don't cross a line. As Seneca would advise, use humor sparingly and kindly as a way to enrich interactions, not diminish them. Real humor, the kind that connects, never sacrifices respect. A well-placed tease can be like a puzzle piece in a conversation. It fits naturally, adding color without overstepping. Teasing can reveal a shared sense of humor, a subtle acknowledgement that you see and understand each other. It's like a gentle nudge that says, "I get you," which can be incredibly attractive because it speaks to a level of understanding. The fun is in the give and take, the quick wit, the small jabs that show you're paying attention. Still, not every interaction calls for teasing. Know when to pull back if the mood is more serious or if someone seems a little hesitant to engage. If teasing is met with silence or seems forced, it's a sign to adjust the approach. Connection thrives in comfort zones, and pushing boundaries can feel more like a test than a playful gesture. At the heart of teasing is the joy of sharing a moment that's a little outside the usual. It's a way of saying, let's not take ourselves too seriously. In a world that often feels heavy, a touch of playfulness is refreshing. So, tease with a light heart, a kind spirit, and the awareness that this small act of play can create bonds that run deep. Step 4. Listen deeply. Respond honestly. How often do we listen to connect rather than just to respond? Real connection, especially in conversations that spark interest, begins with genuine listening, a skill as essential as it is often overlooked. Listening isn't just hearing words, it's taking in the person behind them, understanding their thoughts and feelings without rushing to insert your own. Listening deeply requires more than surface attention. In a world that rushes, where conversations are often exchanges of quick opinions, slowing down to really listen makes you stand out. You show that you value the other person beyond the words they say. This is not just about understanding their point of view, but about making them feel understood. Often, people are more interested in feeling seen and heard than in finding common ground. This feeling of being valued and understood is an emotional pull that few can resist. Psychology backs up this notion. Research in active listening, Rogers 1957, shows that when we genuinely listen, we create a sense of empathy and respect that builds trust. This trust is essential to any form of connection. because it signals safety, a rare and highly attractive quality. Active listening isn't just nodding or making sounds to show interest. It's about engaging on a meaningful level, where every response comes from a place of honest curiosity and interest. But let's make this practical. Listening will involve asking open-ended questions. Such questions make the other person to start opening up, and there is a real conversation instead of an interrogation. This creates an opportunity in which you don't have to occupy time with conversation, but rather creating a space for togetherness. These are the places where one's heart shows, where they are motivated, what they lack, what they are scared of. Stoicism offers a useful perspective here. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, implying we should listen more than we speak. Listening is a way to practice humility. When you truly listen, you put your ego aside, embracing curiosity over judgment. And it's remarkable how being genuinely curious about someone else can dissolve barriers. When you show interest in who they are without trying to impose your own beliefs or stories, you're allowing them to feel respected, and that's a gift. There's also a subtle art in responding well. Listening should flow into responses that reflect thoughtfulness. A well-placed response shows that you're not just waiting to speak, but are present in the moment with them. This honesty in response, a mix of sincerity and tact, is rare. It lets the other person feel that they're engaging with someone who truly values their input. So, embrace this art of listening, not as a strategy, but as a way of showing genuine respect and interest. When you listen deeply and respond thoughtfully, you create a conversation that goes beyond words. It becomes an experience, a moment of connection that others remember long after. This active listening can sometimes contradict the Sigma confidence we talked about. No need to listen to everything everyone says. You have to understand what I call selective listening. More agreeableness means less confidence, and she will eventually lose interest in you. Step 5. Speak without words. Can much be said without ever uttering a word? The answer to this question is a loud yes. The human body is an open book, and most often our body speaks louder than our mouth can say. Nonverbal communication, and in particular, assumes its position, highlighting the importance of body positioning, movement, and even facial attitudes in every conversation in terms of developing reporting receptiveness or absence thereof. It means that sometimes simply paying attention to and using body language can enrich interactions in a very significant manner. Confidence and attention can be interpreted as an unspoken communication form, such as a dance. Your posture tells a lot about how you feel and also what you are thinking of, from your stance, head position, downwards to your arms position. Straight posture, for example, leaning slightly backward with straight shoulders, gives a feeling of stability and communicates a message of relaxed assurance. It's not about staking out territory. It's about proving you belong there. As the use of language can be forceful or gentle, our bodies can either draw people closer or push them away. Communication studies like Mehrabian's 1971 nonverbal communication research show that body language occupies about 55% of total communication. This means that content is usually less important than delivery, and what we communicate in terms of tone is as important as what we actually communicate. For example, open body language, such as not crossing the arms over the chest, and looking at the other person means that a person is friendly. Standing with feet, shoulder width apart, tilting the body slightly forward when the interlocutor is speaking, gives him or her the signal that the listener is fully engaged. Such movements can be unpretentious, but they build trust and form bonds that simple words cannot build. A significant part of body language is mirroring. Mirroring is when you subtly reflect the other person's gestures, tone, or posture, creating a sense of harmony. This technique, done naturally and subtly, can create a subconscious connection. It's not about imitation, but about tuning in to the other person's rhythm. If they're leaning forward, for instance, you might lean in slightly as well. signaling alignment and empathy. However, mirroring should always be organic. Overdoing it can come across as insincere, even manipulative. And most peoples are good at understanding manipulation, and it can erode trust. In the context of Stoicism, there's wisdom in remaining present and in tune with others without being overly reactive. Stoics valued ataraxia, a calm, untroubled state of mind. With body language, this calmness can be reflected in a relaxed but attentive posture, creating a sense of grounded presence. When you're at ease with yourself, you're able to engage without needing to perform, and this quiet confidence naturally attracts others. However, it's essential to recognize when body language isn't reciprocated. If someone pulls away or shows closed-off posture, it's often best to respect that boundary rather than forcing closeness. Awareness here speaks to empathy. When we're truly present, we don't need to push connection where it isn't welcome. Mastering body language is less about controlling every movement and more about awareness. When you're mindful of how your body speaks, you create an environment of openness and respect. By grounding yourself, staying relaxed, and subtly mirroring others, you can communicate a powerful message without needing to say a word. Let your body language be a quiet but compelling invitation, one that says, "I'm here, I'm present, and I'm listening." And in that silence, you'll find a way to connect that words alone could never achieve. Step 6. Being unapologetically you. Lastly, remember, nothing is more sexy than witnessing someone confidently embrace one's inner weirdness. Everyone is weird, and weird is fun, while in a world that constantly makes us try to conform to some standard. Something as simple as appreciating your differences is refreshing to others. It's not about being unique in order to be unique. It's about embracing who you are and letting everyone see that. When one embraces the unique self, that person creates a novelty that society will observe and find appealing. That being said, accepting one's quirkiness exists with an understanding and a measure of acceptance of oneself. Listen to a very quiet moment and try to recall what you like and dislike and what sets you apart from other people. And when you embrace those aspects of yours, you are in a way granting others the same permission to do the same. This type of authenticity is attractive. People are drawn to those who are true to themselves because it seems like a novelty. Psychologically, there is such thing as pratfall effect, and according to this, people who present themselves as competent and yet have weaknesses are viewed as more likable than the perfect ones. I wonder if in a way accepting those idiosyncrasies can work like this. So when you reveal the peculiar, the flawed, it makes you more real, more approachable. Instead of trying to make things look perfect, give yourself the permission to be real. This openness does not just strengthen bonds, but also creates comfort to others, because they also don't feel like they have to be flawless. But why is this so powerful? From a philosophical point of view, Stoicism holds that every free person is a living soul, which is made and fashioned by nature in accord with her laws, with certain experiences and perceptions, and certain character. To attempt to fit in is, in a sense, to deny it, which is as much a part of us as our fingerprints. Staying true to yourself, as the Roman emperor suggested, is to be following the nature of yourself. Because, as a tree grows in its shape, so does every individual have a course that should not and cannot be made to conform to the rest. The acceptance of the peculiarities has its advantages. Self-promotion must not be excessive and intrude on others' comfort zones. Being true to oneself shouldn't feel like being selfish. It has to feel inspiring. In addition, do not make it your goal to startle people with your individuality. Just let your peculiarities appear during the discussion. It is not to shout on the top of one's voice of what difference the individual has brought, but to be well assured of it. Therefore, Forget about worrying on how to be normal or cool in every situation you find yourself. But don't approach your imperfections as one would flaws, rather. It is like the distinctive stitches that make up the entire garment. It's what you talk about, what you laugh at, and what you're passionate about. That is, when you own these fully, it is often accepted and others feel quite at ease with you. Still, there is nothing better than a self-satisfied person who will be ready to share this state with others. To some extent, by being your awkward self, what you're offering to the world is the genuine you, someone they may not have encountered in their daily lives. In a world of sameness, that is actually more appealing than any facade that can be put on.